You know how you walk into a store sometimes and they're like, if you can guess how many gumballs are inside this, you can keep them all? When I was 6 years old, my first grade teacher would teach us how to do this, and it's the only math lesson I've never forgotten in my entire life. My first grade teacher marched into class announcing that she had won a contest where there was a giant tube of Lego, and they said if you can guess how many are inside, you can keep it. Instead of guessing, she just counted how many Legos were along the length of it and counted each Lego as its own unit. She then used the formula to calculate the volume of a cylinder, and she calculated exactly how many Legos were inside, and she took it home and gave it to her daughters. She bestowed unto us the valuable information of how to do that with absolutely anything. Indeed, it's very simple, but you have to know how to do it if you're gonna smoke all the bitches at the baby shower, because one time I was 13, I went to my aunt's baby shower. They had a table full of candy and 1 jar of gummy worms, and they said if you can guess how many gummy worms are inside, you can keep the entire table of candy. Never in my entire life have I been more dedicated to a cause. I got on my hands and knees and I started calculating how many were there. The key is to ignore whatever's inside the jar and treat it like an odd unit. Count however many touch the side of the jar, and that's your length. Count how many gummy worms touch the bottom of the jar from end to end, and that's your width. Divide that by 2, put that to the power of 2, multiply that by pi, and multiply that by the length, and you get the volume of a cylinder. If you're working with a different shaped jar, Google the formula for that shape. I calculated 234 gummy worms. I sat down, and the rest of the baby shower I sat hemming and hawing at my imminent victory. When they called out the name of who won the gummy worms, I was waiting to hear the sweet sound of my name, and they called out the name Deborah. Deborah. That's so funny, Aunt Sharon. I don't remember my name being Deborah. Some other hoe stands up and claims her prize, and she looks at me as I'm falling to my knees, and she's like, hey, you're the girl that was doing all the math, right? Oh yeah, I just kind of looked at your paper and I saw you were writing 234, so I just went up by 1. I don't know. You looked like you knew what you were doing. I guessed 234. She went up by 1 and got the number exactly right because of me. That day I learned 2 things. Number 1, even at a celebration of birth, you cannot trust a single bitch. And number 2, never ever turn your back to a bitch named Deborah.